how to purchase investment properties with other people's money. So this is exactly what I did in 1999. So get a pen and paper. I'm going to go through exact steps on how do you use other people's money, how do you get other people's money, and how I don't care what you're doing, you can get it too. You just have to follow everything I'm going to say. So I'm going to talk about three specific things. I'm going to talk about what OPM is. And inside of OPM, which is other people's money, I'm going to add OPI, other people's IRAs, and other people's credit. So those are three very distinctively different ways, all in that same category of other people's money. Number two, I'm going to talk about what used to be an amazing alternative to OPM, which was your EIDLs. They are no longer here, but I do want to share some very interesting insights, because people are still sitting on a lot of cash. I know it's personally, millions have not been invested, but people have it. And then number three, let's just talk about good debt and bad debt again. A lot of you have issues with debt because of the way you were raised. I call them inherited behaviors. And then you've been listening to traditional financial institutes, Susie Orman, Dave Ramsey, who say live debt free. Well, I can personally tell you they don't live debt free. What they do in their life is not what they tell you to do. I do what I tell you to do, meticulously down to every letter. And I can tell you good debt is a way that you will be a fast millionaire. You could be a millionaire in a year, 18 months, 24 months if you use good debt right, which is another form of other people's money. So get a pen and paper. This one's a big one for a lot of you. So OPM, other people's money, there's a lot of stuff written about it and there's a lot of misconceptions about it. So other people's money is just that. Somebody else has made a lot of money. They want to become a lender or they want to become a partner. Now that's different. That's not the kind of money I'm talking about. Like I would rather be in debt with you and be your bank because debt is superior to equity. Now the challenge is when Shark Tank came along, everybody thought putting a shark in their tank and having a shark investor in equity position is a good thing. The truth is, there's a lot going on behind the scenes of Shark Tank that a lot of you don't know about. I'm not going to disclose that here, but I can tell you a lot of you do not know. Whoever is the smarter and more senior with the money in an equity position can take the deal. In a debt position, they can't take it. All right. So I would rather, and I coach you as a client to keep your deal, keep your equity, and stay in a debt position. There's a form called convertible debt. It is the number one strategy that I love, especially for beginning clients. Keep your business, keep all your equity. In fact, I got a Ford dealership with several partners July of 2020. We bought a Ford dealership. It was just transitioning through the pandemic, and we got it for $500,000. So my client came to me and said, how are we going to do this? And I said, we're going to get $500,000 of convertible debt. He said, well, do we have to give equity? I said, no. Equity means, and here's on the other side of it. If you invest in equity and it goes down, you're done. If you invest and you're in a debt position and it goes down, you actually can get money back, sell off the assets, and debt is the first paid. Debt is a senior position to equity. No one teaches you that, and Shark Tank has, just waved these massive flags of the brilliance of having equity investors. I prefer debt all day long. So to the Ford dealership, the way we did that is we found a variety of people between $50,000 and $100,000, paid them 10%, and that gives the company the $500,000 and 3 years to get back on their feet, get moving, get running for cash flow. At 3 years, they either get paid back. So say somebody put $100,000 in at 10%. In 3 years, they're going to get $130,000 back. Pretty simple math. They're going to get their money back, or they get it converted into an equity position and actually start enjoying the cash flow of the dealership. So that's just an example of really great OPM in a debt position, not an equity position. And for those of you out there, I remember when I first started, this company, and we're bootstrapping it, and I couldn't even pay my web designer. I was making so little money because I hadn't figured it all out yet. And I remember thinking, well, maybe I'll give him equity if he'll just keep doing my websites. Well, that company grew into $39 million. Can you imagine if I would have given equity away, how much I would have had to have given him to have been in a position? So a lot of you beginners, you give equity away because you don't have cash. Let me teach you how to make cash to pay for anything you want. It's a better deal. Now, let's go on to other forms of OPM, which is OPI, other people's IRAs. There's trillions of dollars of people sitting in 401ks. Now, with all the transition that's gone on with the pandemic, there are so many people who left behind, right? They either, got laid off or they quit. They're not working. So that 401k that they're no longer an active employee of, it's open game, which means you can work with them. I have resources to help them self-direct it. And with the self-directing money, they can now buy real estate. They can buy, which includes land. They can buy equipment. I had someone just convert into mineral rights, and they said, well, it's like to like. That's an old conversation in 1031 exchanges. So IRA money is phenomenal money. And a lot of people, I mean, the only choices you get in a traditional 401k is mutual funds and bonds. Woo, so exciting. I mean, you're only going to get 4, maybe 5%, 6%. So I would prefer that you go get that money and help them convert it, help transition it, and then you borrow it from them again on a convertible debt note. Another way to do it, if you are already flush with some cash and you have some money, but you have bad credit, is use someone's credit. I've helped clients put together somebody with great credit, somebody with money, and in fact, in a trifecta, you have somebody with great experience. So they would find the project, somebody would come in with money, and they wanted to put it on really cheap debt at the bank, right? 3-4% note, and somebody came with the credit to get that loan. So that's another way to do it. So there's a lot of, I'd say, complexities, but I want it to be like creative fun. Like there's so many ways to get a deal done. And if you're, again, just reading through the internet and doing some basic structures, you're not going to understand the creativity of how you get deals done. And here's another payout structure. Maybe you need cash flow, but maybe somebody needs depreciation. You can carve that out in the deal. So love creative deal structures, probably one of my favorite things. But how do you invest with other people's money? There's a couple choices. Now, the one that you all missed was the EIDLs. EIDLs were what the government gave during the pandemic. They ended it December 31st of 2021. I had clients get millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, especially in the real estate space. And they could grow their companies. I've had doctors get them to grow clinics, to do surgical centers, and the money was free, 18 to 24 months. And then after that, the amount that has to be paid is only about 3.28%. So with the EIDLs, here's the good news. A lot of those people that got money, like I know people right now are still getting the trickle. They were approved in December. And like one client, for example, is getting another $938,000. A lot of these clients, they got extra money because they had the formula to get it. They do not know what to do with it at this moment. So it has to be an investment of the company and growth of the company and has to strategize, but there's a lot of money in that category. And I'm going to talk about good debt and bad debt in just basic funding. Now, a lot of you're paying a ridiculous amount on your credit card. You don't have to pay anything on your credit card. The number one thing I'm going to coach you on is how do you get your credit cards to 0% and hold them at 0%. See, a lot of you don't even do your credit card strategy right, and because you're freaked out about debt. It's only bad debt when you buy stuff that you don't need, and it's what I call lifestyle stuff. And the only reason you're using your credit cards for lifestyle stuff is because you're not making enough money to have the lifestyle you want. So let's fix the right problem, make more money. I will never tell you to live within your means or live on a budget. If you want something, go make the money, buy whatever you want. And when it comes to debt and carrying credit cards, not only your credit cards, but your companies can all have their own cards. The amount of money you can get when you actually play the good debt strategy properly and use corporate structure, it's phenomenal. I have clients that have millions of dollars of access to credit lines, credit cards at 0% across maybe 4, 5, 6 different companies. So money's everywhere is the message. You need to go get it. Now, before we end, and I'm going to tell you a big strategy to go get it and why you're not getting it, but I want you to go subscribe to my channel. So I want you to subscribe. I want you to be here 5 days a week. Our commitment is financial literacy for you, for your family. I want you to share this with tons of people. I need you to like it, to listen to it, go back and binge watch a whole bunch of hours, and let's get in this conversation. 1 year, I'm going to start doing this right now. I'm going to start asking people for 1 year, 5 days a week, and just see what's different in your life in 1 year of listening to all these strategies and then putting them in your life. So my final words of advice to you, if you're out looking for other people's money, is your project better be good. And a lot of you, the reason you're not getting money is you don't have a good business plan, your revenue models don't make sense, your marketing research does not make any sense, and your sales strategy won't work. And above it all, my greatest mentor said, money will follow management. So get yourself a board, get yourself a management team of people with a lot of experience. People will pay for other people to be on a team and invest for experience. So if you're out there and you're brand new and saying, I want capital, and you've never had investor relations and never had to pay back investors, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. And quite frankly, I always say, I will never be your first rodeo. I will not. My money's too sophisticated for your beginner moves. I know some of you hate to hear that. And you think, well, I'll just go to Shark Tank. We're all the same. I've been sharking since 1990s, before Shark Tank was a show. So get a plan, get a team, make sure your marketing research, your sales strategy is going to work, because you have to make not only cash flow to make this business work, you have to make the amount that they want back, which is 10, 15, 20%, in addition to pay the investor back. So make sure your plans are solid. If you don't know how to do that, I want you to call our office. We are right here to help you get those done. I help a ton of people do their business plans properly to raise capital. Right now, what I want you to do, I want you to click on the link. I want you to go to my financial personality quiz. I want to know who you are. What profile do you fall in? Right after you complete that, an application is going to come out for you to meet with one of our team members. So meet with one of our team members, make a decision to change your life. And if you need to raise capital, let's get a business plan going. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.